One of the big attractions of Prague Castle is the Golden Lane. Long ago, castle guards and goldsmiths lived there. In the early 20th century, the Golden Lane became relatively cheap housing, as the buildings were small and lacked modern conveniences. A struggling Franz Kafka is one of its more famous occupants. Madame de Thebes was the professional name of fortune-teller Matilda Prushova. She lived in the lane from 1914 until her death at the hands of the Gestapo in World War II. There is quite a bit of confusion about her, as there was a more famous Madame de Thebes who worked in France. She was even the subject of a full-page article in the New York Times, with predictions about World War I, and was also the subject of a rather fanciful 1915 silent film. Her death in 1937 made international headlines. Photos of the French clairvoyante are almost always used by mistake for the Bohemian one. When the Golden Lane was renovated in 2011 and her former fortune-telling shop was reopened as a tourist attraction, an elderly woman who once had her cards read there recounted what it was like. The 91-year-old lady said she was scared stiff and that Madame de Thebes was in a corner with a cat on her shoulder. It was back in 1938, and the woman had wanted to know if she would pass her exams. Matilda Prushova was the widow of a pharmacist. Lacking the background to run a pharmacy, she changed her name to Madame de Thebes, likely having seen the French card reader's name in a newspaper column, and took up fortune-telling. Her son went to fight World War I, and she waited for him to return. He never did. She didn't want to move from the Golden Lane, as she was worried her son would not be able to find her. Allegedly, she set an extra place at the table for him for many years. Her fame spread, likely due to people not realizing that there were two Madames de Thebes. She received letters from as far away as South Africa seeking advice. Madame de Thebes was known for her eccentricities. She wore a big black hat with ostrich feathers, dressed all in black, and filled her small room with curiosities. Her predictions about World War II got her into trouble. She kept predicting that the Third Reich would end in disaster for Germany, and in much less than 1,000 years. The Gestapo took the fortune-teller in for questioning at the Prague headquarters at Peček Palace near Wenceslas Square. She did not survive. Madame de Thebes' presence at Prague Castle shows a continuation of the esoteric and occult traditions dating from Charles IV and Rudolf II straight into the middle of the 20th century.
Thank you. Please like and comment.